How do you build an MVP the right way? Well, in this video, I'll be showcasing how to create an MVP and build it the right way using no code. So my name is Akanbi Damola and I'm a no code developer. I've worked with several founders and I've helped them to build their MVP applications using Bubble. I've come to realize that there's actually a right way that these founders approach building their MVP, and there's also a wrong way that some of the founders build an MVP. And the mindset and approach is very important to the outcome and the success of their application and their product. So, in this video, I'll be discussing the right and wrong way to build an MVP. So the wrong way, really, and it's something that we see a lot of time, is doing like for example 1,000 surveys and contacting all your competitors, or you spend 1 year building your MVP just because you want to create the perfect product. And the reason founders do this is because of either fear of rejection, right? Fear that the customer is going to hate the product, or because they believe that they know what is best for that customer. They want to build the perfect product for them. So it's either a fear of rejection or a desire for perfection, right? And then sometimes we see that a founder decides that they want to spend a year fundraising, raising capital, talking with different VCs and things like that, hiring 100,000 employees before they've even put a product in front of the customer, right? And started that conversation. So, but the right way in this instance is to really launch quickly, to get initial customers and get feedback, iterate, change the product, and make sure that the product aligns with the customer goals. So ideally, you want to look at having between 5 to 7 iterations, before you can really say that you have a product, right? So the idea is to be able to, get feedback consistently from the client or the customer, and a couple of customers, right? And by the time you have done this about 5 to 7 times, you probably at that point have a better understanding of what the customer needs. You would have learned a whole lot more. Your product would have evolved a whole lot more than it is at the initial idea, and your customers would be more willing to pay for the product because at this point, they are helping you build it. So both of you are building it together. And what we see is really there's like, there are two different kinds of founders that I meet when I'm building applications. So first of all, you have MPP founders and you have MVP founders. So an MPP founder, I call them a maximum perfect founder, right? So they are looking to build a maximum perfect product. And that is that, the product is, they believe first of all that they know what is best for the customer, and then they spend years and years just building features, compounding different features on the product, and they just keep building, believing that they know what is best for that customer. And they do this without even putting any product in front of the customer. So they rely on their surveys, they rely on their intuition, they rely on their past experience, but they don't necessarily, present something in front of the customer to say, okay, would you, purchase this, right? And then an MVP founder is one that creates a product that might not be the most lovable product to everybody, but this product solves a specific problem for the customer at the point in time and gets early adopters interested in giving that product a shot. So the idea is simple that an MVP founder is interested in building a product that solves a problem for an early adopter, right? And so it's really important to define who an early adopter is and why do we focus on early adopters. Well, the reason is the fact that early adopters are, like the name implies, they're the ones that, use the application before anybody does, right? And early adopters really are the people that MVP founders go after, while MPP founders go after like everybody within their target market. But it's really given the fact that an early adopter is someone who is willing to try out the product simply because they have an urgent problem and they need to solve that problem right away, and they can afford to try out new software. They are not afraid to try out new software because they believe that anything that can solve that problem, they're going to give it a try. So there's a concept by Perry Marshall, which is a digital marketer, and he refers to this as the bleeding neck, right? So the bleeding neck is a metaphor that refers to a critical or urgent problem that demands immediate attention and resolution. So if you think about a bleeding neck, someone who is rushing into in an ER, an emergency room, for example, right? And you see doctors rushing in someone, right? And that person's neck is bleeding. I know it's a bit graphic, but in that instance, whatever you can do to help that person before the person bleeds out, the person would most likely try it, right? Even if it means taking a hot iron and then burning that neck just to stop the bleeding, or doing something drastic that might be painful at the time. But at least if you can solve that urgent problem at that time, they're going to try it. So think of your MVP that way, that you're looking to solve critical problems within the markets that your product targets, and you want to be able to um, put it in front of these people that have this critical problem, which are the early adopters, and because they have a bleeding situation, they would want to try out your platform. And this is why it's important as an MVP founder that you go from actually trying to build a product for your customer to actually building a product with your early adopters. So the idea is not to believe that, oh, you know what is perfect, you know what is best for the customer, and your idea is perfect for them. But it's about going into a situation where you want to really identify and learn and build with that customer, which in this case is your would be your early adopters, right? And if you understand this correctly, then your first version would probably not do so well. Your first version might probably suck, right? It won't solve all the problems for the customers, because the truth is the customers are excellent at understanding what their problem is, but they are not great at understanding what the solution is, right? So as you build your MVP, it's the perfect product to put in front of them, because at that instance they're able to engage with it and they're able to say, oh, you know what, this doesn't solve all of the problems, but this solves this and this solves that. And if you could just tweak it, maybe you could solve this problem in this way, right? And so an MVP is a great tool to begin that conversation with the customer so that the customer is able to give you feedback and you can then iterate and come back with better versions, that will solve the customer's problems better, right? And this is seen across development, over the years, because some of the applications that we love today, most of their first versions did not, wasn't so beautiful, wasn't so nice, and most of them sucked, at the first version, right? But as each iteration, went, from each product development to the next product development cycle, it got better over time. And for example, this is Amazon's first launch in 1995. Credit to firstversions.com. And you can see here in this image that Amazon's first website was just focused on a specific target market, which was books, and it wasn't all the bells and whistles that we see today. Same thing for YouTube.com. You can see that YouTube.com, when they launched in 2005, it was basically a video dating service where people would put their username and password, and it's just completely different from what YouTube is today, right? So just imagine that whatever your idea is right now, um, when you start interacting and engaging with your customers and with the market, it's definitely going to iterate. It's definitely going to have evolve into what it needs to be, right? So MVP founders, they understand this as opposed to MPP founders, but MVP founders, they focus on learning instead of perfection. And the goal is to build fast, get feedback, iterate, update, make changes as quickly as possible, and learn as much as possible. So this is what is referred to as building with your customers, right? And this is what we encourage. And this is just a bit of research from Y Combinator. Credit to them. They came up with this four-step process, which is excellent for building MVPs. And the first step is to allocate time to your MVP. So this means that if you have the concept and idea in your mind that okay, you want to create this as an MVP, how long is it going to take? Right? So you would want to give a deadline to that process, right? So is it going to take 2 weeks? Is it going to take 4 weeks? Is it going to take 3 months, right? So you want to allocate time to your MVP build. Number two, you want to write down all the features and the specification you believe that your MVP is going to have, right? And you want to put everything down like in a sheet or in, just like, or you could have it, in a table format, right? So you want to write down all your specification. Then understanding that this is being built for your early adopters. You want to cut down those specifications to just the few features, right, that you believe are essential for your early adopters. So you really want to focus on maybe a specific segment of your target market and a specific problem that they have, and you just want to build specific features to solve those problems. And in that way, you're able to engage, put something out there in front of those customers, engage with them, and then get feedback based on what they say. And then the last thing is to love the customer and not love the MVP, right? Because the MVP is going to change, it's going to evolve, but the customer remains just same. Their problems and their challenges would remain the same. So you want to love the customer and engage in conversation with that customer, not necessarily, loving your version of the MVP. And so, this is a concept that, I came about, and that is the fact that whatever your MVP is right now, it has different versions, right? So if you take your idea, for example, today, I can give you a 500 to $1,000 version of that idea, right? That is the specifications completely cut down, and I can give you, a 2,500 to $5,000 version of that idea, and I can also give you a 25,000 to $50,000 version of that idea. So it really comes down to the amount of features that each of your ideas have, and how to really tailor those features to the specific problems that your MVP solves. So you have these different versions. You have the 500 to $1,000 version, and this is most likely a quick first version MVP that's launched to early adopters, and it just works with the essential features. It's all about getting feedback, starting the conversation, and building that conversation with the customer. And then you have like a medium version where it's like 2,500 to $5,000, and that is a slightly more complex MVP version, right? And that might take 30 to 90 days to build, and then you now have a 25,000 to $50,000 version, which is built for perfection, has all the possible features. So this is really most of the time where you find the MPP founder, right, who wants to build all the platforms and all the features, and instead of launching a an MVP to the customer and getting them to pay for that first version and getting feedback from that first version, they would rather just keep building and keep adding more features because they believe that you know the product is not good enough, right? So, and the product is never going to be good enough until it is built with the customer. It's the customer's feedback that makes the product great. It's not the features that we are thinking about in the bedroom, by ourselves without engaging with the customer. So let's now look at a case study, right? And let's talk about a fitness application that provides personalized workout plans based on user preferences, fitness levels, and goals. So this is a fitness application where You want to work out, you want to do um, a simple workout, right? And you go to this application, and this application gives you some personalized workout plans, right? So let's look at different versions of this. So on the 25K to 50K version, you can see that it has a lot of features. It has AI-based workout customization. So I'm just going to mention a few. It has a comprehensive exercise library with HD videos. It has personalized notifications. It has community features, 24/7 customer support. It has comprehensive marketing strategy, high-end design, interactive elements, right? Behavioral-based notifications, dynamic pricing, comprehensive CMS. So it has a lot of even predictive analytics and insights. A lot of features, right? That you know a customer might not necessarily need, but because we just believe that the more features the product has, the more valuable it is. The MPP founder keeps adding more and more features, and they never get to launch, or when they launch, they spend too much money, too much time, and the feedback is most of the time is negative, and they just give up on that process. So then you also have, this kind of application on a 2,500 to $5,000 range. You have advanced workout generator, you have social media login integrations, you have improved UI with animations, you have advanced notifications, maybe monthly and annual subscription models for payment, and then you have advanced CMS with filters. So maybe an app like this, and with the development platform, you can see here on the 25 to 50K version, the timeline took 6 months. Development platform was custom code, and then the cost was 37,500. But here on the 2,500 to $5,000 version, development platform was no code with custom integrations. Timeline was 45 days, and then the cost was $4,650. Right? So you can see the differences in this application. This one has less features, you know, and it's being able to be built on fewer days and has a lesser cost. But then you now have a version which is the 500 to $1,000 version, which is what I always recommend for my clients to start with. Because on this version, you can see just as a basic workout plan, it has basic 10 exercises library, a single progress tracking, one-time payment model, basic CMS, right? So with this, it has all the features that can be built within 7 days, right? And this is built on no code with the custom integrations like a platform like Bubble, right? Timeline is 7 days, and then the cost there is $750. So this is what I always recommend as much as possible to my clients, is the fact that try getting a version of your idea that can be built within 7 days and for a maximum of $1,000. Right? If it's exceeding that, then you probably need to cut your specifications to the essential features that your app needs, that your customer needs. And this is referring to your early adopters. So building on Bubble is perfect. So Bubble is a no-code platform that allows you to build various applications. So it's perfect for MVPs because you are able to basically build fast. You're able to launch and deploy your applications. You are able to iterate and make changes. You're able to make updates based on customer feedback. I mean, I'm able to make changes within an hour that if it was custom code could take a lot of time, right? So Bubble is quick for those iterations. It's quick for this customer feedback. It's amazing sometimes when a customer requests for a feature, and then within 2 3 hours they sit and they're like, "Wow, your development team is amazing." Because that's the power of using no code technology, is that you're able to make changes very quickly, right? And it's inexpensive. I believe it's about $32 for the starter plan, right? As of this date, this 2024, it's $32 for the starter plan, and it is perfect for your early MVP versions. So as you begin to iterate and as you begin to scale to the point where you now start having 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 users, you can then begin to consider custom code development, or still working with Bubble, but then integrating with a back end provider like a Zano or a Superbase or something like that. right? But at that stage where you're still trying to get customer feedback and you're still trying to build that great product with your customer, at the point of 50 to 100 active users, even up to 1,000, Bubble would be the perfect um, solution, right, for you as a founder, as an early stage founder. So, just in conclusion, so build your MVPs by stripping away all the non-essential features that you don't need, that your early adopters don't need, and make sure you focus on those essential critical features that would immediately resolve the bleeding neck of your early adopters, right? So thank you for taking this quick video. And if you need any help building your early version MVP, you can click on the link in the description. It's the same as this link, leadscoreai.com/Talden no code, and that will take you to our portfolio, and we'll show you some of the applications we've built, and we'll just expand a bit on this concept of building early version MVPs, right? And we believe that an early version MVP, should be built within 7 days and should be at a maximum of $1,000. So reach out to us and we would be glad to work with you. Take care. Bye.